It's journey time on the train of change, looking at payments. It started as far back as 10,000 years with the use of commodity money. Any commodity was useful, you name it. Salt, wheat, shell, jewelry, strong beads. Whatever people wanted, two parties just had to agree. We can use jewelry, we can use clothing, we can use shells, or we can use metals. At any place of your choice, just give me X amounts of iron. I could give you Y amounts of clothing. Everyone who's present can barter with me. I'll be there for everyone to see. It moved on to the Sumerians in 4500 BC, where it got a little more pretty. They started keeping records with clay. They started trading overseas. They built ships and traveled to the Persian Gulf, trading with other early civilisations who traded textiles for goods, jewelry, precious stones, and pearls. Then the trend took on in Babylon in 2000 BC, when commodity began to increase. Precious metals became conventional, with silver, copper, and gold measurements becoming mathematical. This became a standard in the 7th century. The Lydians had introduced gold and silver coins by the 6th. We then moved on to cash money payments. Payments were done with coins for the longest time, since recorded history till 1st century BC, when people started asking for credit by promising a payee. Promissory notes were first Roman prescriptions. It became bank letters of credit in Persia by the 3rd century. This constituted the earliest writings ever found, mostly on wooden tablets declaring amounts of pounds. One merchant was going to pay to another for stock and goods already delivered. By 7th century AD, coins had become unsafe. Jia, the first paper money, came in the Chinese Song dynasty. For daily business as well as transactions, even tax collecting, the empire was booming. This started in 1160. Wheezy notes came in 3-color paper, backed by 280,000 yuan of Chinese copper cash coins. But the notes were easily forged as Chinese first made paper. They switched to cash for 700 years, which were round bronze coins and a little better. True paper money came in the 11th century, still in China or the Mongol Empire. It took on as privately issued bills of credit, as exchange notes, and everybody had it. This continued for 500 years, then got into Europe in the 17th century. The Bank of Stockholm in 1661, which later stopped for lack of reserves. Treasury notes were used for payment till 1861. Things had become financial with war and panic. 1812 and 1846, up until 1857, then came greenbacks in 1861 in the United States. During the American Civil War, currency had made its entry, but there was still more. Cash and currency continued up to the 19th century, when came the chart coin, the first credit card. Merchant names and logos, customer numbers appeared from department stores and even hotels. By 1930, true bookkeeping had begun. Then a better credit system called the charger plate, in the form of rectangular pieces of metal, the customer number, address, account number, and date. When the magnetic stripe card was invented by Forrest Parry, it was 1960, IBM Engineering American National Standards. It took banking to the next level and lasted 50 years. It became global in the 80s and everywhere by the 90s. By 2011, there were 6 billion bank cards, recording by regular use 50 billion transactions. By 1966, Interbank formed the MasterCard card, the Central Network, and computed in 1973. Swift Worldwide Interbank started the same year, May, with submarine cables linking 3 worldwide data centers. In the United States, Netherlands, and Switzerland, the More Technology, my 1974 transmission control program by Vince Cerf and Bob Kahn, leading to the birth of the Internet. On the first Saturday in 1983, Bankcard had signed agreement with the Visa and MasterCard. This happened in 1980 for an international start. IP networking then brought the EBIX protocol. with XML, TLS, RSA key using certificates. Launched on the 1st of January 2006 point-to-bank network, bringing money past EFT Post Link and InterSwitch with Discover Card in 1986 by Sears in Atlanta. The 1991 American Express credit card was born. After the 2008 financial crisis on October 31st, Satoshi Nakamoto published a peer-to-peer cash system. By the 3rd of January 2009, the Genesis block was mined, marking the beginning of the blockchain network, the first distributed database for a growing list of records, each one called blocks, and in miners a reward. Each one comprising timestamp and data with a hash of previous block. The elliptic curve algorithm was the tech that made it. Signatures and cryptography through a public key. This was the basis of Bitcoin security. With a daily transaction rate of 100,000, see the focus of the network power. With up to 500,000 transactions being hashed per block. After nodes can demonstrate a true proof of work. Through a unanimous vote, the next block is added. With an all-time high of $68,000, Bitcoin has become the most expensive cryptocurrency. Ethereum was launched in 2015 July as a network for decentralized apps, with its blockchain based on a proof-of-stake system. With mining responsibility and reward for the highest staker, it brought about the introduction of smart contracts later, a system for apps on the Ethereum blockchain. These are self-executing programs to help fulfill an agreement between participants without an intermediary. This turned around more blockchain projects such as NFTs that came as Ethereum ERC 721, a standard for non-fungible tokens, in May 2014. Digital representations of real-world assets such as streets, artworks, even real estate. Stablecoins too, with the BitUSD, which was launched in July 2014 to stay pegged in price to the US dollar. Then coins generated funds with ICOs, beginning with Mastercoin in 2013. Then came DeFi for borrowing and lending services, such as MakerDAO and Eta Delta, the foremost P2P digital asset built on the blockchain network.